Welcome to The Explainer. So, have you ever stopped and wondered, why do we chase the things we chase, or admire certain people, or just follow all these unwritten rules without even thinking about it? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on this hidden force, something called symbolic power. It's an incredible idea from the sociologist Pierre Bourdieu.
And this quote from the philosopher Leibniz, it just nails the problem, doesn't it? Right, we're all told, be good, avoid evil. But hang on a second, who gets to decide what's good? Who's writing the rule book we're all playing by? And how in the world do those rules get so stuck in our heads that we just accept them as normal? And you know, that exact question, that was the obsession of French sociologist Pierre Bourdieu. He spent his entire career trying to map out this invisible logic, the stuff that dictates our tastes, our goals, even our gut feelings about what's right and wrong. So here's Bourdieu's first big idea, and it's a game changer. He says that the social world feels natural, right? We just think, oh, that's just how things are. But Bourdieu's like, nope, that's an illusion. He argues that our reality is actually a construct. And to really get it, we have to learn to see the invisible scaffolding, the rules and power plays that hold the whole thing up.
He had a name for all these assumptions we take for granted, pre-constructions. And just think about it for a second. Our language is absolutely packed with them. Take a word like success, or professional, or good taste. We think we're just describing things, but what we're really doing is using words that are loaded with hidden values, quietly steering how we see everything. Okay, so how do we get past that illusion? Well, this is where Bourdieu is so cool. For him, sociology wasn't some stuffy academic theory. He thought of it as a craft, a workshop, an officina, he called it. It's a place where you get your hands dirty, where you get the tools to actually dismantle the world around you and see what makes it tick.
All right, so let's pop open this toolkit, shall we? Bourdieu gives us these 3 key ideas that are just brilliant at showing us the hidden logic of pretty much any social situation.
Okay, first up, the field. So instead of thinking of society as one giant blob, picture it as a bunch of different game boards. The art world, that's a field. Politics, that's another field. Your office? Yep, that's a field too. Each one is its own little world with its own rules, its own players, and its own unique prizes you're trying to win. So on these game boards, you need capital. And think of capital as your poker chips. It's what gives you power in the game, but, and this is so important, Bourdieu says it's not just about money. Sure, that's economic capital, but there's also cultural capital, which is like what you know, your education, your taste in music or art. Then there's social capital. That's all about who you know, your network. And finally, symbolic capital, which is your reputation, your street cred. And then there's the last piece. And honestly, it might be the most brilliant of all, habitus. This is your deep, intuitive feel for the game. It's not something you consciously think about. It's built into you from all your life experiences. It's that gut feeling that tells you exactly how to act, what to say, even how to stand, to fit in and get ahead in whatever game you're playing. Okay, so you see how it all clicks together, right? You're on a game board, that's the field. You're using your gut instincts to play, that's your habitus. And what are you playing for? The valuable poker chips, that's the capital. Field, habitus, capital. Boom. That's the social game right there. All right, theory is great, but let's see how this stuff works in the real world. We're going to use Bourdieu's own research as an example and dive into the cutthroat world of 19th century French art. So in this field, the art world, you had these 2 camps just battling it out over what good art even meant. In one corner, you've got the official academy. These guys were all about tradition, historical paintings, technical skill. The capital they were after was official stuff, medals, government jobs, that kind of thing. And in the other corner, you've got the rebels, the avant-garde. They couldn't care less about tradition. They wanted originality, shock value. The capital they were chasing was totally different. Buzz, critical reviews, and the hope of being famous someday. So you've got 2 groups playing 2 totally different games on the very same board. And there's this amazing, witty comment from the artist Degas that just sums it all up. He's looking at this super traditional painting of a soldier aiming a rifle, and he says, guess what he's aiming for? The medal of the Salon. See, he saw right through it. The painting wasn't just a painting, it was a move in the game to win a specific kind of capital. And that's the key takeaway here. This wasn't just some friendly debate about painting styles. No way. This was a high-stakes war for something huge. The power to define art itself. The power to say, this is what art is.
And that is not.
And that right there, that leads us to the grand prize. The ultimate goal that, when you get right down to it, everyone in every field is fighting for. Bourdieu had a name for it: symbolic power.
Symbolic power is, well, it's the sneakiest and most powerful kind of power there is. It's not about force. It's the power to get everyone else to see the world your way, to make your ideas, your tastes, your values seem like they're not just your ideas, but the only way to see things, the natural, common sense way. And once you see it everywhere, hiding in plain sight. You know, when the government draws a line on a map and says this is a state, that's symbolic power. When the law defines what's a crime and what isn't, that's symbolic power. When someone stands up and says, I speak for this community, and everyone just accepts it, that's symbolic power in action. So really, the end game in any field, art, business, you name it, is this fight to control how we see the world, how we divide it up into categories. Because the winners don't just win a few points. No, they get to write the rules. They get to make their version of reality everybody's reality.
Okay, we've gone through the toolkit, we've seen the ultimate prize. So what? What does this all mean for you and me right now? Well, what Bourdieu's toolkit, field, capital, habitus, really gives us is like a pair of social X-ray specs. It lets you see right through all the stuff we just accept as normal and spot the hidden power games that are constantly shaping our lives, from what happens at work to a casual chat with friends. And this is not just for academics in ivory towers. This is a practical craft. You can actually use these ideas. You can use them to figure out the politics at your job, to understand why you like the music you like, or to spot the unwritten rules the next time you're at a family dinner. It takes this big theory and turns it into a personal tool for making sense of your own life.
So that's what we want to leave you with. Take a second and ask yourself, what are the unwritten rules of your world? What are the fields you're playing in every day? What kind of capital really counts there? And how is your own habitus steering your choices? Because once you start seeing the game, you're not just playing anymore. You're starting to understand it.